Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, Monday nights, Slasher Movie Club, and it's time to rock and
I'm
roll.
here.
I told you. And Coriander's with me, and we're ready to go for you guys in the live chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. A blanket hello to you guys out there, just real quick to catch up before we get into this really interesting discussion on Identity from 2003 from the great James Mangold. Real quick, we got Jerry in the chat. We've got Russell. What's going on, Russell? Good to see you.
Hey.
Val's in the chat. Good to see you, Val.
Hello.
We got Ronan. Ronan's in the house. Good to see you, man. And
Yeah.
when we did our watch party last night, it was the first time that Ronan saw it. And yeah. And speaking of which, let me just say this right now, because there's a lot of excitement about it, but no spoilers in this live chat, which should always be the rule. No spoilers, because there might be people that haven't seen it. We will get into spoilers later on in our discussion, and I will give the warning for that, but no spoilers, please, guys. Remember, not everybody sees everything, and part of the reason we love doing Slasher Movie Club and talking about films in general is to hopefully introduce some new things to folks. Barb's in the chat. Good to see you, Barb. Hope you are doing well. Let's see. We got Philip in the house. What's up, Philip? We got our buddy Steven's in the house. What's up, man?
Hey.
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. We got Philip as well. Good to see you, Philip. Jason, Brandon, Melissa. I feel like this is Romper Room.
Nice.
I'm calling out everybody. What's going on?
Romper Room. What the hell are you talking about?
You don't know what Romper Room is? Bro,
you are older than me, so
yeah, okay, but like 2 days.
Screw you, 2 days. No, it's more than that, punk. 2 days.
No, Romper Room was a TV show for kids back in the day, like a Mr. Rogers or a Sesame Street.
No.
First of all, in the chat, send me some Night Watch Zone emojis and let me know if you've ever heard of Romper Room. Because
I have never,
you missed
ever
out.
heard of Romper Room. That just sounds inappropriate.
Yes, dude. Okay,
it does, dude.
Right. Real quick, shout out to our good friend, part of the inner circle on Slasher Movie Club. Dan's in the house, enjoying retirement. What's up, Dan?
Nice.
Kenny, what's up, Kenny? Good to see you.
It's Kenny. Kenny's here.
Barb said, yes, the countdown screen. Everyone pumped. I love that. Thank you, Barb. You're all right. You're all right. And folks are saying, hey, Coriander, what's up?
Hello. Hi.
And thank you, Brandon. Brandon saying, love the new intro. Thank you so much, man. It's really a mishmash of our old intro and just kind of going through our previous 100 episodes, which, man, just so exciting. This is episode 103, and it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
It is.
Barb saying, "Yay, Coriander's actually on. Pinch me. How you doing, girl? Right? I
I'm
know."
good. Oh my God, you gotta stop.
She's yeah, okay. Though yeah, no, we don't want to go back off screen, man. Um, Barb is saying, I'm sorry, and Val is also saying, slash the like button. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. So let's Ronan. Hey, Jason knew what I was talking about. Thank you, Jason. Romper Room loved it. There you go. There
I
you
mean,
go.
I watched Mr. Rogers
Yes, it was
and
similar. It was similar to that.
I did watch some Sesame Street, you
Of you
know.
better had.
Well,
You
yeah,
better had.
but
We all
I
did.
had never heard of Romper Room.
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm
It's all good.
sorry.
Dan knows what's up, saying ready for some Pruitt Taylor Vince action. Yeah, yeah. This cast was so cool.
Yeah.
Um, you guys are too funny, man.
Ah,
Oh, Barb says
right?
we love you,
Jeez.
Coriander, for reals.
Ah,
Oh,
well, love y'all back.
yeah. There you go. All right, so let's get into this film, man. This
Yeah.
film from 2003, Identity, directed by someone who I think is a fantastic director in James Mangold, who has had a really cool career. We talked about this last night when we were doing the watch party. And by the way, if you guys have not joined us on the watch parties for Slasher Movie Club, watching the film that we talk about the following day, you guys got to do it. It's a lot of fun, and we're just having a great time with it. But James
Yep.
Mangold has had a really interesting career because he's done different types of films, different types
Mhm.
of genres. Most notably, things like Logan, Ford v Ferrari. He's done the latest Indiana Jones, Girl Interrupted. Um, Gosh, what else? I
I don't
know
know.
310 to Yuma, Copland with
Wow.
Sylvester Stallone,
Mm.
Walk the Line, which was the
Quite a
Johnny Cash
bit.
film.
Yeah.
Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix. I
And
know
you're
you're a
still
big
gonna
Johnny
keep
Cash
going?
person. Yeah, bro,
Yes.
because I feel good about it. But listen,
All right.
so this movie, in other words, this movie was in great hands as far as
Mhm.
directing. When it starts off, and I know you had said you had seen it a long time ago, so this was kind of
Yeah.
like almost like a first watch for you. What were you thinking in the beginning? Because it starts off like just this murder mystery cop type of story.
Yeah, I mean, I love the beginning, you know, and
Mhm.
my feelings have changed on this movie. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I like how it began. So yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I think that it was interesting because we have Alfred Molina, and for you guys, you Spider-Man fans out there, Doc Ock himself, um, who is, obviously a doctor, and he's talking about a patient, and it's setting up this particular story, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, boom, you see this flash, and you're seeing the scenery of this hotel, which, by the way, was a great set. It was a great place that was integral to this story, and it was
Yeah.
creepy, it was atmospheric, and so forth. But all of a sudden, you see this guy come into the hotel with this
Mhm.
lady in his arms, and you're like, "Oh my God, she looks like she got fucked up." And he's like, "Help!" And then all of a sudden, it flashes back. Now, when you're first watching it, it's kind of jolting, but you realize, okay, they're talking about this family in the car, this guy with this lady, and
Mhm.
then next thing you know, they're showing this other thing where Amanda Pete's character is involved, and it's like, okay, there's a lot of stuff going on, but what it's showing
Yeah.
is the events of how this lady got injured because of
Mhm.
the fact that they ran over the shoe from Amanda Pete's character, got a flat,
Mhm.
and then they're trying to fix it in the rain, and then all of a sudden you're introduced to another set of characters with John Cusack and Rebecca De Mornay, and they are the ones that hit this lady. And so it was
Yep.
like a domino effect. Now, I know that's a lot that I just said, but what are some of your thoughts about how they showed these events, for the lady to get hit?
Oh man, you know, once she went out, you know, towards the back and started talking with her kid, you could
Yeah.
see headlights coming, you
Right,
know,
right.
and it's just too bad she didn't see him because, yeah, man, uh, and why she had to step back like that, it's like,
I
I don't know.
know.
I don't know.
I
It's
know.
stupid. It's stupid.
Yes.
And yeah, you felt bad for her because the kid sees her get hit, and
Right.
then the stepdad's reaction, which you don't know he's a stepdad, but you'll find that out.
Mhm.
And yeah, man, it's like, wow. I liked how it was all building up to this scene and how it was
Yeah.
put together and yeah. Yep.
It was different, it was interesting, and I still remember when I first saw it, I was so invested in watching it, and even last night in the watch party when we were watching it together as a group,
Mhm.
it still had that feeling. The director, James Mangold, he's forcing you to get invested because he backtracks the story just a little bit to see where we get to. Like he gives you a
Yeah.
little bit, like this woman gets hit, but you don't know why, you don't know any context. And then they
Mhm.
backtrack to tell you how it happened. And it's like these dominoes. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Real quick too in the chat, we got Russell in the chat. Hey Russell. We got
Hello.
Jerry's in the chat. Hey to Jerry.
Hey.
Hey to all you guys just jumping in. Denisha, Tricksters in the chat. What's going on? Saying I really love this movie mainly because of the rut we were stuck in for movies at this time. Interesting
Mm,
point. Very, very interesting. And definitely let us know what you're thinking of as we're talking about the events in the film. But again, no spoilers in the final act of the film, please, because there's some folks that have not seen it yet. I want to make sure I give people a fair warning. And by the way,
yeah.
if you are here and you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe and also hit that like button to help support this stream. It would really make a difference for us. And May's in the chat too. What's up, May? Good to see you.
Hello.
Okay. So all of this is happening and you're just trying to figure it out. So we go back to the hotel back in real time as far as the film is concerned. You're
Mhm.
introduced to Larry. Larry was a great character. I love this guy because
Yeah.
he was just interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just one of those type of, and you've seen him in a thousand things as he's a great character actor. But Rebecca De Mornay was this really uppity actress type of bitch role,
Oh,
which
yeah,
was
she was a
great.
bitch.
It
Yeah.
was great though, and I love that scene where John Cusack, who is
Throwing her shit on the porch.
yes, he's like, "Come on, we got to get out of this car." And she didn't want to get involved because they
Mhm.
hit the lady, and she didn't want to get involved. She wanted to kind of just,
She probably
basically,
would have been like, "Keep going, go, go."
yes,
But John
yes.
Cusack, his character was like, "No," you know?
Yeah, and John Cusack, by the way, and I'm a big fan of John Cusack, and he right off the bat, he was setting a moral compass. You could tell this was a good
Mm,
guy who had, he did the right thing, in other words, and I really, really enjoyed that. Real quick too, just to say, Jerry is stepping up to the plate tonight. Thank you
oh,
tonight.
nice.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so
Jerry,
much.
gifting
It's
a channel
awesome.
membership, which we absolutely appreciate. Is very, very kind
Mhm.
of you. Um, just a very nice thing to do. And it looks like it got gifted to Danielle. Danielle's in the chat. All right.
Awesome.
Very, very cool. Oh my gosh. Very, very cool. And thank you so much for doing that. We really appreciate it, Jerry. You're all right. And you know what, real quick, let's just play a quick little clip for Jerry. We really appreciate the support. It really means a lot. So here we go.
But listen up now. This is serious. When you're tempted to do something wrong, even if the reasons are good, think twice, because you never know how things will turn out. You might be getting yourself and everybody else into a whole lot of trouble. Do what's right, and you can't go wrong. Take it from me, Mr. T.
All right. Thank you so much, Jerry. We really appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
So Rebecca De Mornay, as this actress, she did not want to help out the situation where they hit a lady and injured her. It's like
Yeah.
absolutely crazy. But like you
Mhm.
said, John Cusack is like, get the fuck out of this limo. He's a limo driver. He's
Mhm.
like, get out of here. We got to find some help. So Amanda Pete's character decides to go with him. They're driving. It's rainy. It's thundering and lightning. It looks like they're absolutely in the middle of nowhere. And guess what? They are. you know, they come to this
Mhm.
area where it's like a lake and they can't go any further. Now, what are you
Yeah.
thinking at this point?
That sucks because that lady really needs to get to a hospital. So the
Yeah.
fact that they can't make it, you feel bad for this family, you know?
Yes. Yes.
But the dumbass should have had a spare, just like his wife was like, "Why don't you have a spare?" Or
Yeah, that's
whatever the
true
hell she was
too.
bitching for. So,
Yes.
I
Yes,
mean,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of the times where you were like, why? This is crazy. But it worked out okay, in the sense
Mhm.
of they were figuring it out. They were figuring out
Yeah.
why these things had happened and so forth. So, but they can't go any further, so they've got to turn back and they see this young couple, and these are two more characters. This movie has a really huge cast, an ensemble,
Mm.
and a lot of great character actors, veterans and newer actors at the time as far as 2003 is concerned. But
Yep.
they figure, hey, we got to get back to this hotel, give us a ride, and all of a sudden to get back to the hotel. So now we have all these characters that are at the hotel that are basically stuck there because of the flooding from this huge ass thunderstorm, which seemed like the greatest thunderstorm in the history of Earth. You've got
Hey, man. Global warming, that shit's real. So they were even dealing with it back then. So
there you
it's
go.
believable.
No, absolutely. It's absolutely
Yeah.
believable, the flooding. Because when I was first watching this, I was
Mhm.
thinking, wow, this is crazy. They are stuck. They are up shit's
Mhm.
creek, literally, right? So,
Mhm.
anyways, they're at the hotel, and then this is where the fun part comes in, where you see a lot of the interplay between these characters, because you got Amanda Pete's character and Larry, the hotel owner or motel manager, I should say, who just has this big chip on his shoulder with her, treating her like crap and all of this, calling her, a prostitute and just being
Yeah.
very, very cruel
Well,
to
it's
her.
not like he wasn't right, but
But I'm
the
just saying the way
fact
he was treating
that
her.
right, but it's funny that he pinned that to her, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because a lot of
right.
people dressed like she had jeans on and, like, a
Yeah,
jacket.
she
So it's
wasn't
like, how
dressed
could
that
he
provocative.
even right. So I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, what the hell do you know?" But he
Well, la
was
well,
right.
la but later on, we figure out why and
Mhm.
why he was like that and so forth, and it actually
Oh, yeah.
makes sense. That was the
Yeah.
cool part. But you've got Ed, played by John Cusack, who is basically trying to help this woman with her injuries. She's got, like, I guess, injuries in her upper area, like her neck, and he decides to try to help her out by sewing her up.
Mhm.
And you've got the stepfather and you got little Timmy, who obviously is the kid of the woman, and so you're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. You don't have any clue. You just see these strangers that are all
Yeah.
in this one enclosed area, which, by the way, I love films like that, like Kill likes to call it, a bottleneck film.
Mm.
Music by Alan Silvestri, who is awesome, and you could hear that ominous music, and then a car is pulling up to the motel, Coriander, and
Dun,
you're like,
dun.
Exactly, dun dun
And that one chick
dun."
was like when it went by, she's like, "Ooh, did you feel the cold?" You know?
Yes,
So she could feel
good
the
point.
ominous presence coming.
Very good point. Which the other thing too is that it makes you start thinking, well, wait a minute, are we gonna have anything supernatural happen in this thing? Because you have no clue
Yeah.
when you first watched it, when I first
Yeah.
watched it. And real quick too, we got May working hard in the chat, putting in links. We've got Halloween Fest 2 coming up on Wednesday night. We're
I
gonna
can't believe
be
we're on our last movie.
right. I know.
That's crazy.
I know it's crazy. We've
Mm.
got Halloween Fest 2 Wednesday night on Steven's channel, Craving Something Scary. And then on Thursday night, we're going to be back here for the first half of the after party and then going back over to Steven's channel. So Wednesday and Thursday nights, as usual this week, guys. Hopefully you can hang out with us. And yes, Steven, exactly. We're trying to get 50 likes for these streams, bro. Let's get this thing going, man. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
Um, but so you're wondering, well, what's going on? I know Barb says, I'm sad that we're on the last. Well, Barb, we're going to figure
Mm.
out some more fun things to do.
Oh,
And trust me,
totally.
we got some good
Yeah.
ideas coming up. But
Yeah.
guess who comes out of the car, Coriander? Our
Yeah.
boy. Rest in
Right?
peace to
Yes.
the late, great Ray Liotta, who, in my
Yeah.
opinion, anything I've ever seen him in, he always shines. He always stood out. He has
Mhm.
that charisma that he brings to all of these characters
Oh, the
over his
creep
illustrious
factor.
career.
And he
Yes.
definitely was
Intensity.
creepy. Yeah, he was creepy
Yes.
though too.
Yes.
Like
Yes. He
sleazy creepy, so but
yes.
we all know why if you see the
Yes.
movie.
He
But yeah.
plays it well. He comes out of
Mm,
his car. He's a cop who's transporting a convict, and so now we
yep.
have another character, 2 more, and look who else we got. We got a
Yep.
Busey. I love it. Jake.
Yeah.
And he's the convict. And so now we're adding elements to this story because we got all these strangers, we got a lady that's injured, we've got a cop
Mhm.
who has a convict who's dangerous, you assume. And wow, what's going to happen? We can't get out of here. The radio isn't working in his car. We're stuck. We're absolutely stuck.
Yep.
The scene he has with Amanda Pete was creepy. Look at how James crafted this scene. Like Ray Liotta is out of focus, and you just get this bad vibe from him. You really do.
Yeah.
And they have this interaction. I remember last night when we were doing the watch party,
Mhm.
there are a couple people saying, wow, he's like really so close and intense in her
He
face, and it was
is.
it was just really uncomfortable.
Yeah, man. It's like you got your personal space, and it's like, dude, back the fuck up,
Yes.
man. Not only
Right,
that, but he
man.
looks so intense and
He
like, if I get you
does.
alone in a dark place, you're in trouble.
There
It
you
just doesn't
go.
look good.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
And Dan, you're right. A crazy Busey, that's a surprise. That's right. That's
Mm.
right. Russell saying that Jake was awesome in The Frighteners. He was.
Yep.
He really, really was. Um, Steven, a fan of this movie, absolutely. It was
Yep.
so much fun watching it. So, at this point, you're still trying to figure out what's going on, and I love that aspect. There's a lot of mystery. We go back to Rebecca De Mornay's character.
Mm.
She's just totally materialistic. She wants to get out of the situation. She doesn't care that they hit a lady. Granted, she wasn't the one driving, but she just doesn't care. She's just wrapped up, egotistical, and she's trying to get a cell phone signal. And that's when she
Mhm.
goes outside in the rain, and you just knew that was a bad idea. And then all of a sudden, boom, she's the first one to
Yeah.
drop. She gets
Yeah.
killed. What did you think about that scene? And then, of course, when John Cusack is looking for her in the laundry room.
I mean, yeah, who didn't enjoy watching, seeing her go through the rain trying to get a signal, and
Hmm.
then the next thing you know, yeah. I mean, who knows what happened, it wasn't good. And
That's right.
I mean, John's character, you could tell that he was, like he said, an ex-cop because he's following the little, hooks that you hook the um, shower curtain to and picking them up, and it
Hmm.
led him to the washer and dryer room. And
Yep.
yeah, he's like, you could obviously tell that there was something off because of the thud thud. And yeah, and
Hmm.
once he opened the right one and you see her head, it was like, holy,
Yes.
all right. So yeah,
Yeah, man. We get our
it's
our
starting.
first, yeah,
Yep.
our first, yeah. We got our first official victim, and it was absolutely crazy, but it was cool because then you got Ray Liotta, you got Larry, and they're like, "What the hell happened?" And you see a head in
Yep.
the dryer. It's like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Steven, you're right. She did not know the rules. You do not listen, guys. You just don't do that. You don't go out in the rain. It was just bad. It was bad. She said she would be right back. That's right, man. No doubt.
Who'd she say
Barb's
that to? Who did she say she'd be right back to?
no, I was just saying in
I
the
was gonna
chat there,
say
like they said, we'll
no.
be right back.
I
Uh
was like, that didn't
Barb
happen.
saying we need more movies like Identity. It was not like anything we had seen before when it came out. It surprised me. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. And Russell saying 1408 with John Cusack. Yeah, it was really, really a good one. I love that one
See,
with
I
John
haven't seen
Cusack.
that one.
Well,
Yeah.
and we talked about maybe checking that out. Yeah, because it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Julie's in the chat. What's going on?
Hello.
Saying that this was a really fun watch party. It was. It was a fun
It was
thing to
good.
watch as a group. It really was.
Mm.
So now we've got a dead actress, Coriander, and
Yeah, we
everybody
do.
is freaking out,
Yep.
notably, and you get it.
And you
And
find out, yeah, right, that the convict who the motel dudes, yeah, the safest place is to hook him to the
the
toilet.
toilet,
And
yeah,
it's like, what? And he stupid enough did it. And
yeah,
yeah, and he was gone. So people
he
are like,
was
oh no, you know,
right. Right.
But
Yeah, so
anyway,
everyone's freaking out. You got the young
yeah.
couple, they're freaking out because and
Mhm.
you can understand it. You got a loose convict and they were here and they're just regular people. She locks herself in the bathroom. The boyfriend's arguing with her. I love how this scene went because you would see each of the characters on the opposite side of the door. And then at one point it got quiet and she's listening to the door because at first he was banging, let me in, let's work this out and all that type of stuff
Mhm.
because they had just gotten married under the false pretense that she was pregnant, but she wasn't. So he's
Yeah.
upset, she's upset, and all of a sudden it goes quiet and you hear this like little bit of a rattle and all that type of stuff. And it's
Yep.
like, what's going on? And it was just subtle little things. And we had seen that there was a shadow in the room, the killer, the quote unquote, the killer. And it was just well done, is what I'm getting at. And sure
Mhm.
enough, she comes out, and then dun dun dun, we got our next body, bro. Two
Yeah.
people killed
Yep.
within the 5 minutes.
Yep.
What's going on, man? It's
I don't
crazy.
know, right?
It's absolutely crazy. We see Jake Busey, who's trying to get away,
Mhm.
or we assume he's trying to get away. He's running through the rain. And then next
Mhm.
thing you know, Coriander, we were talking about this last night, he ends up back in the area of the hotel. Or
Yeah.
maybe he gone away and came back. We don't know at this point, but they cuff him to a chair and
Mhm.
he's basically taunting everyone, including Larry, the motel manager, and saying,
What's in
have
the
I
freezer?
yeah, what's in the freezer? And have I got a
Mhm.
surprise for you? And all this type of stuff.
Mhm.
Absolutely great storytelling at this point in the film. Real quick, let me just catch up to the chat here. I want to make sure that I catch up to these guys. These guys are having like some really interesting conversations. Let me see if I can work through it.
Mhm.
We got Fluff's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. All
Nice.
right. Very cool. Let's see. Who else? Let's see. Let's see. I don't know if this movie was made into a novel, Brandon.
Mm.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It would make a good read. It really would. No doubt at all.
Yeah.
Um so now at this point we've got the killer, the convict killer who is once again apprehended. He's in one area, so you're thinking, okay, that's cool. But then again, back to your point you made, which was really cool, is John Cusack's character Ed. He found a key. He found a
Mhm.
key on the body, the body of the boyfriend that was killed.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like, okay, what is that all about? So the idea of the key with each number, 10, 9, 8, 7, it
Mhm.
started to be a motif in this film, which was really, really cool. And
Mhm.
so, of course, and Ray Liotta was great. Every time Ray Liotta was on camera, it was magic. He's freaking out. He's trying to figure out what's going on, and all
Mhm.
this type of stuff. What did you think about, first of all, his character and how they started to use these keys as like the calling card of the killer?
Well, obviously, you don't trust this character because you have that scene when he's in the bathroom and he took his jacket off and
That's
you
true.
saw what you saw. So
Yes.
then it's like, okay, I don't know what to think of this guy now. So
Right.
I didn't know what to think of him. I didn't
Mhm.
know what to think. So yeah.
Yeah, good point, good point. And eventually, like you said, that body comes out of the freezer while they're all
Mhm.
talking, and so Larry is basically like, "Wait a minute, is Larry the killer? He's got a dead body on the premises of the motel." So they're
Yep.
freaking out. He's freaking out. He puts a knife to Amanda Pete's neck and
Yep.
basically like, "Stay away from me, stay away from me." So then all of a sudden you're shifting it. You're thinking, "Wait a minute, this guy is the killer." He owns the motel. He knows the ins and outs of it. He's kind of odd anyway, so he's got to be the one. Well, he is freaking out and he decides to get out of there. He gets in a truck. Next thing you
Yeah.
know,
Oh
he's
man.
driving away.
Yep.
Now, Ray Liotta and John Cusack, they have guns, so they're pointing it
Mhm.
at him, but they didn't shoot him. But all of a sudden, you've got Timmy who's standing in the road. Like everybody's coming out of the rooms to see what's going on. Timmy, the
Yep.
little boy, is standing in the road. And so, of course, his stepfather is going to try to save him, gets Timmy out of the way. The stepfather gets mauled over by the truck that Larry is
Oh yeah.
driving. What
Yeah.
is going on? What is going on? Another death. Let me ask you
Uh-huh.
this. And for you guys in the chat, let me know what you think. At this point, do you remember what you were thinking? Well, or even last night, because it was kind of like a first watch for you last night. Were you thinking, what the hell's going on? These bodies are, people are dropping like flies.
Well, it's obvious that they're trying to like make you think everyone's a suspect here.
Right.
So, I pretty much stopped trying to figure out who's doing it because
Good for
I
you.
don't know who's doing it. Um, but what the hell else did you ask?
Well, no, that was it. Because I was just thinking to
Oh,
myself, as a slasher film, as a
yeah.
horror film, we're getting a really
It's a
big
good body
body count.
count. Yeah,
Right,
it's a good one.
exactly. And
So,
while that's going on, you've got this side story that goes back with the doctor, Alfred Molina, who's talking to a judge and this whole table
yeah.
full of, lawyers and stuff talking about this killer, this serial
Mhm.
killer that was on death row, and this
Yep.
was
Up for
hours before
execution. Yes. Yep.
his execution or whatever.
Yep.
And this doctor, played by Alfred Molina, is trying to explain his whole plea on insanity charges and stuff like that. That's his
Mhm.
defense, I should say, insanity. So it's kind of weird. And, it's a great point in the film because I remember when I was first watching this, I was thinking, okay, how is he connected to what's going on? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, did he kill someone? Did he kill the guy that showed up in the freezer at the motel? And we're gonna find out. Or is he, you know, um, part of what he has already done is the story of these folks at the motel. That's kind of what I was thinking, and it was really interesting the way that they were weaving all of these aspects of the story together. It was really, really interesting. I had no clue
Yeah.
what the hell was going on.
Right.
I I truly didn't, and I loved that about the film. I
Yep.
really, really did. And by the way, all of these actors, and of course, this is Pruitt Taylor Vince. He was great as Malcolm Rivers, even though he didn't have a lot of screen time. But in the screen time he did have, he just had a presence about him. You were scared. You believed he was a serial killer. But while that's happening, and they go back to the folks at the motel, they're just trying to deal with this. Timmy is obviously upset because he's lost his mother, his stepfather. Everybody's wondering what the hell's going on. Larry had a body that was in the freezer, and the mother, I should say, the mother hadn't died yet, but now she did. But
Yep.
she had severe injuries. She was literally
Right.
going to die without medical care, anyways. So it's like these bodies are stacking up, but all of a sudden, this is where the movie takes a twist. So let me just start saying this for you guys in the chat, or for you guys watching this on replay. If you have not seen Identity from 2003, directed by James Mangold, this is the point where you probably want to pause and watch it, or come back to this video, because now we're getting into spoilers. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
again, you guys in the comment section, don't jump ahead of us. Stay with us as far as how we're doing this, just in case there's some folks, some folks are like, I got to hang on a little bit longer. So at this point, shit's going down.
Mhm.
You got Ray Liotta, who goes back outside to where the truck is, where Timmy's stepfather had died. And look, the body's gone. What the hell
Mm.
is going on? The body's gone. So of course you know what they were going to do next. I would have done it too. They go back to where the convict is. His body is gone. He was killed with a baseball bat, which is why they got so pissed off with Larry before we
Mhm.
saw the body in the freezer. But his body is gone,
Mhm.
as if it had never been killed with the baseball bat.
Yep.
And then boom, we get the scene where all of a sudden you've got John Cusack, who had been suffering from headaches and blackouts,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden he's having a headache, and he shows up and he's like looking around, he's dressed in white, and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? He's
Yeah.
in the room with Alfred Molina. What? And he's
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Who are you? And Alfred Molina is talking to him like, Edward, you're here, blah, blah, blah. He's calling him by name. And, he's like, I've talked to you many, many times, and so forth
Mhm.
and so forth. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So are they saying that John Cusack is the killer? And I'm trying to figure it out. But
Yeah,
then
man.
as they're talking, Alfred Molina is basically telling him that you don't know this, but there's another side of you. And it's like,
Mhm.
what? And so then we realize in the reflection, he gives John Cusack this mirror. He looks in the mirror, and then we see Malcolm Rivers, who we know
Mm.
as Malcolm Rivers. That's when it hit me. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a friggin' minute.
Yeah.
Because they had talked about personality disorder a little bit right before this, kind of, just little touches of it because they didn't want to give it away. So it's like,
Mhm.
wait a minute. So Edward, John Cusack, is a personality within Malcolm
Yeah,
Rivers.
man.
So I'm
Mhm.
like, what the hell?
Yeah.
This is
That was an
crazy.
it was. I love those endings where it's like, "What?" It gives you that twist that you had no clue,
You
and
didn't. You
yeah,
didn't. And I'm still trying
yeah,
to absorb it. And then you've got Alfred Molina who is trying to calm Malcolm Rivers down because now he's seeing himself, but he's also seeing his image of John Cusack or whatever, and he's freaking out. And
mhm,
again, it was a great performance by John Cusack, but also Pruitt Taylor Vince
mhm,
in this role. And so then it's kind of like, okay, well, what's going to happen now? What about all these people at the hotel? I was so invested at the people at this motel.
mhm.
Now, this is where it gets crazy because Alfred Molina says to John Cusack, quote unquote, John Cusack or Ed, is that all of these personalities have been brought into one place to basically deal with each other and cancel each other out. And
Yeah,
Molina says, I knew there would be violence. I knew there would be death. And he basically told him, we are trying to save the life of this man, Malcolm Rivers,
mhm.
by getting this judge to understand that
Exposing his other sides, his other personalities. Yep.
that's right, is that they wanted to cancel out the personality that committed
Mhm,
the brutal crimes for which he was going to be executed for. And
mhm,
then I was like, wow,
mhm.
that is so crafty. That is
But
so
then there's another
crafty.
twist.
Oh yeah, there's another twist. So so now you're invested, even at least for me, I'm invested even more in John Cusack because you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, you gotta kill Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta is the killer. He's gotta be the killer, right? And
Mhm.
there's this huge this is where it gets to be even more so kind of like a slasher film
Are you
because
gonna give it away about Ray
well
Liotta, or are you just gonna let it
well
go and if
Well, we're
people
not
will watch it?
we're not there yet, but we're gonna
Okay,
tiptoe a little bit. We're gonna tiptoe a little bit. But
okay.
this is where it gets to be a little bit more of a standard slasher film in a little bit because throughout this, Amanda Pete's character of Paris was portrayed kind of like a final girl, and all of a
Mhm,
sudden, Ray Liotta is going batshit crazy, and he figures that he's gotta kill people. He's got a gun and he's going after Paris, and Larry's there too. He kills Larry, shoots him dead. And so all of a
mhm,
sudden it's kind of like, okay, she's got to get away from him. And we know that John Cusack is quote unquote the good personality. He's the hero.
mhm,
He's kind of the one we're invested in the way this
mhm,
movie has been set up, which I think was fantastic. So you've got this showdown. Look at this great image of Ray Liotta with the
mhm,
lightning and the rain and stuff. So it's basically kind of like this whole part where it's Ray Liotta versus John Cusack. And, we've got them going right here. Now, first of all, let me ask you what you thought of the the realization of John
who
Cusack
he was?
being, yeah,
Oh,
being the hero personality and then leading up to this confrontation with Ray Liotta. And that's where we're going to stop. We don't want to go beyond that.
I mean, obviously, when you find out the whole thing about Ray Liotta's character, you'll understand, it makes sense.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I mean, it was crazy, when you realized that John was a personality, his character was a personality, and that he was the hero, you
Right.
know, you
Mhm.
know. So it was interesting that this doctor was trying to pin it on this personality because it just kind of didn't match. But you know what I
Well,
mean?
Well, I mean, he was ruthless, and we did see a flashback, and we didn't talk about this yet, but we saw a flashback of how Ray Liotta got to the motel because he was being
Well,
transported.
yeah.
He was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
criminal, a
See, I didn't
convict.
think you were gonna say that.
Well, I think we can do that because
Yeah,
we're into the spoilers now. We may hide the last twist, but they showed how he escaped and
yeah,
used Jake Busey as as the scapegoat because they were
yep,
both
they
being
were both.
transported.
Yep,
Yeah, and Jake Busey was like, "Well, what am I gonna do?" And he's like, "You're gonna stay in the back and shut up." So
yeah,
Ray Liotta killed the cop, put on his
yep.
jacket, and
Put him in the
just
trunk.
basically, yeah, and
Mhm.
basically took over his identity. You get it? Ooh,
Yep.
identity. By the way, Hollywood guys in the chat too. What's going on? Good to see you
Hey,
saying hello, Night and Coriander. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. Yeah, it's
yeah,
a good one. It's a
it
good
is.
one. Barb saying that twist was next level. It really was, man.
Yeah,
It truly. Whoo. Julie said, "I'm trying to remember who I thought was the killer on my first watch."
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's crazy,
It's
man.
hard because it's like, obviously it was so long ago, and
Hmm.
they made almost everybody look like a red herring. So
Yeah, I mean,
it
this
was
could have been.
tough to try to, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
If you figured it out, if anyone figured it out, I want to know. And
yeah, man.
that's impressive because shit.
Absolutely. I mean, this movie could have been called Red Herring the movie. With
Oh,
so many
jeez.
of them. It really
Yeah,
was.
that was.
It really, really was. And by the way, again, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please do. And thank you, May. We appreciate it. Saying we want to reach this. We want the stream to reach as many people as possible. Hollywood guy saying I thought it was Ray Liotta, to be honest, but then exactly. So
Hmm.
Jason saying I didn't figure it out. I was flabbergasted. Absolutely. Because at this
Yeah,
point it's like, okay, now we're going into deep, 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 deep spoilers, guys. So again, if you have not watched the movie, I highly, highly recommend you do not listen any further. Because this is just great stuff, man. Because they let you know about this thing with Malcolm Rivers and the Ed identity, and it's still like another 15 minutes in the movie at least, maybe 18. So he's facing off against Ray Liotta. That's what we want. He kills him
yeah.
at the expense of him taking bullets.
Hmm.
And so now he's dying. And you're like, well, wait a minute. What the fuck is going on? We don't want
Yeah.
John Cusack to die. And Paris is sitting there like, don't die. And you kind of, they were really cool characters together,
Hmm.
trying to do the right thing with all these strangers in this horrible situation, and she's just sitting there and like he's dying. And so in my mind also I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute, the bad personality is, or the killer personality is gone, but the hero personality is gone as well. What the hell's going on? And again, when you first watch it, you're trying to absorb so much. That's why it's great on a rewatch. But then you realize, well, okay, well, you still have Paris, because everyone else has been killed, man. I didn't
Hmm.
mention when we had the car explode, when Timmy
Yeah.
and the girlfriend, the young couple, the girlfriend,
The
they
married. Yeah.
they had just gotten married. They got killed in an explosion. So everyone's dead at this point.
Hmm.
It was just Ray Liotta, John Cusack, and Amanda Peet that were left. So
Hmm.
then it's kind of like, okay, well, she's the one that's left. Yay. And at the hearing, you could tell, and the guy who was the judge, he was really good too in that role. He's
Yep.
basically has been convinced by
Yep.
Alfred Molina and these other doctors that it was a crime of the mind more so than a physical crime, because Malcolm
Hmm.
Rivers had all these identities in his head, and they showed his notebook, and they showed that he truly believed he was one particular character over another. So, in other words,
Hmm.
they were going to stop his execution
Yep.
and send him to, a state hospital.
Yep.
Basically, Alfred Molina saved his life. And so you're kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And they show Paris driving off, you know, she talked about it earlier, how she had bought an orange grove and she was going to just kind of, it's almost like she's
Yeah.
going to
She
just
wanted to go
enjoy her
home and grow
life.
oranges. Yep.
That's right. And they showed
Yep.
Amanda Peet driving and she's singing. And again, this is great work by James Mangold, because then you kind of get not a split screen, but it fades and you see Malcolm Rivers, who is talking just like Paris, singing the song that she's singing. So you realize all this stuff is going on in his head, and it's like it's just really, really cool the way they presented this particular storyline. It's a fresh take on something as far as personality disorder and stuff like that. He's sitting there singing and he's being taken away to a state hospital. He's not going to be
Yep.
executed. And then they showed Paris at her orange grove and taking care of her stuff and
Hmm.
tending to the soil and all that. Let me ask you this, because this is the ultimate ending here. What
Yeah.
did you think at this point? Did you think it was going to be a happy ending? Were you on board with Malcolm Rivers as far as him being saved from execution? And obviously now in his own mind, he's at peace because as Paris, he's gone to that orange grove. What were you thinking at this point?
Oh yeah, I thought there was going to be a happy ending for her, and that this guy was going to, yeah, live out his days in a hospital.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. We got Guyver also in the chat. Good to see. Hope you're doing well. And again, if you guys have not hit the like button, please do. It helps to support us. And May, if you could let us know how we're doing with the likes. But yeah, I was thinking this is going to be a really cool ending and so forth. But then as she's messing with the ground, she's pulling up the dirt and we see a key again. We had seen a
Yep.
key, this whole idea of the keys throughout the whole film. Everyone that got killed had a
Had a
key
key.
on them. So all of a sudden, she sees a key, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. What's going on? I have no clue. No freaking clue. Everybody was killed. Malcolm
Hmm.
Rivers is saved. He's going to the state hospital. It's supposed to be a happy ending.
Hmm.
Let me ask you this too. Did you know who it was gonna be? That's what
Obviously not. No.
Okay. I just wanted to throw that out there. We're
Did
about to
you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at
Okay.
all. On the list of possibilities, the person that they reveal was probably at the bottom, the very bottom, the
Yeah.
last person I
Yeah.
would have thought of.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go, guys. She looks at the key. She's freaking out because she knows what that means, that someone is still there. You see someone with the rake standing there, and you're like, who the hell is it? Guess who it is, Coriander?
Yeah.
It's little Timmy. And you
Yep.
see Malcolm, instead of singing that song, he's starting to kind of twitch and this and that,
Say
like
shit. He was like talking.
he's wrestling or something.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden he's grabbing Alfred Molina, and they showed that it was Timmy, and they backtrack in every single instance where someone got killed. Timmy was the reason. He
Hmm.
distracted his mom. That's why she stepped away from the car and got hit. He came after Rebecca De Mornay, the actress, and killed her. He came after the boyfriend from the young married couple. He killed
He
his
did
own
it all.
mother.
He
Yeah,
did
he
it
did it
all.
all. And he's talking about, whores don't deserve to live or whatever. And again, that's when you see that he kills Paris. And that's when we have that scene where Malcolm Rivers has grabbed Alfred Molina. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, are you serious?
Yeah.
And they also showed in the explosion where we thought Timmy died, he had walked away from it.
Hmm.
So he actually had hidden himself. The young girl from the married couple, she got killed, but Timmy had walked away
Hmm.
from it. So it's like, man, there's like 3 twists in this movie, and it's like, wow, it's absolutely crazy. I love the ending of this film. It was dark. I didn't see it coming. Who would have thought it was the kid? Um,
Yeah. It was a good
wow.
ending.
It was
Yeah.
very, very good. Yes,
Yep.
very, very good. May saying I would have never opened that window in the car. That's true too. But you know what though? And that was what was kind of sad because you really felt for this doctor because he was
He
trying to
had like
save
trust. Yeah.
and he had
And
trust.
he, yeah, like
But
enough trust where he could feel that he could do that and he'd be okay.
yes. I mean,
So
he studied this man. He knew all the
his
personalities because
personality, and it's crazy that it's like this kid was there, but did he ever talk about this kid? You know what I mean? Like the parents, obviously, it's just puzzling that, he wasn't really talked about, this kid personality.
Well,
So,
let me just say this, and real quick, Hollywood Guy said So was the kid real? The kid was not real. He was a personality of
Yep.
Malcolm Rivers.
Yep.
But here's the thing: is that in the motels scenes, with the stepfather, he said, Timmy just doesn't talk much. He's one of those introverted kids. He doesn't talk much.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that there was very
Yeah,
limited,
I guess. Yeah.
person
Knowledge of him.
knowledge of him as one of the personalities
Yeah.
because the doctor Alfred Molina had studied the composition book and he knew how they all talked, what they
Mhm.
did, their
Mhm.
background, their histories. Like for instance, John Cusack as Ed, he was a police officer, and
Mhm.
he actually explained that in some of his scenes in the motel. He was a police
Yeah.
officer that decided to retire from the force because he couldn't save someone and he suffered from blackouts and this and that, which explained why when he was Ed, he would black out and go either to another personality or back to Malcolm Rivers. In other words, John Cusack was, he was the hero personality, but he was probably like, kind of the go-to personality, maybe what Malcolm Rivers wanted to be, but never really could be. But anyways,
Yeah.
what an ending. It was
Yeah.
so crazy that it
It
ended up
was. It
being
was good.
Timmy.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So for you guys in the chat, whoo, that was the ending. Let us know. You guys are talking about how you really loved the ending. Trickster saying loved everything about this movie. Very, very
Mhm.
cool. Jason saying fantastic twist, awesome ending. I had a lot of fun. Barb saying
Yeah.
it's one of those movies that make you go, "Huh?" Exactly. Exactly. I'm assuming that's the noise. Um,
Oh,
we gotta
jeez.
we gotta score this one. Well, no, I mean it
Yeah.
for fun. That's what when I
I
see that
know.
emoji, that's what I think.
I
Barb's
know.
Barb's probably like, that's not the noise I would make. But as
Right?
always, we got to score this one. And you guys in the chat, you guys that are with us all the time, you guys know what we're going to do here. So give us your score. We've got the 4 badges, which means that we think the film is excellent, that it's a must watch. You should check it out, even buy it physically. We've got our 3 badges, which means we think the movie is good. It's a good time. We've got our 2 badges, which means we can take it or leave it. It was just so, not great, but definitely not good. And then, of course, Coriander, we've got the dreaded 1 badge, which means it's horrible. We didn't like it, aka Dark Territory, aka Don't Go in the Woods, aka Blood Cult, aka Good Night, God Bless, aka Student Bodies. You know how we roll with this. So, Coriander, for
Yeah.
you, what would you give Identity?
4.
We've
Definitely.
got 4 badges. And look, I'm just going to cut to the chase. I absolutely agree. This is a 4 badge movie for Slasher
Yeah.
Movie Club. There's no doubt about it. James Mangold, again, he's a fantastic director. If you guys have not
Mhm.
seen a lot of his movies, I'm going to start a new slogan. Watch more movies, guys. And he's done movies outside of the genre. So be
Yep.
ready for that. But he's great. And this is one of those movies that is a high recommend. Hollywood guy saying I give it a 10 out of 10. You guys are too
Nice.
funny. Russell saying a 10 plus. Dan giving it 4 badges. Trickster
All
giving it
right.
a 10. All
All
right. All right.
right.
Jason is giving it 4. Hollywood guy is giving it 4. Brandon
Nice.
is saying a very high 4. Russell's giving it 4. Trickster is giving it. Now we got it. Trickster's giving it 4. Julie's giving it 4. This
Nice.
is great, you guys. This is the most scores we've gotten in a movie in a while. Val saying
Mhm.
definitely 4 badges. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I agree. Um, it's a great movie, man, and I'm so glad. Melissa's saying I give it a 3. Okay, all right.
Okay.
May saying I am giving it all the badges. There you go. Barb's like all the badges, man. It's a great film. It's a great film. And let me just say, before we get ready to head on out, when we had talked about we talk about doing these movies ahead of time, obviously, so we can prepare and plan
Mhm.
and schedule things to, to set it up and all that. And when Coriander had talked about it, she didn't really remember it, but thought it was a movie that she didn't really enjoy. So when we talked about the
Well, it
idea of doing,
was. It
well,
it was one that I didn't really
but
care for the
but you
first time
didn't
I
watch it
saw it.
all. But you say you didn't watch it all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of that. So I think that's part of it
Yeah.
too. Anytime you don't watch you come in a third of the way. Anyways, point being, so she wasn't really on board with the movie. And I'm thinking to myself, what? This is a great
You
movie.
were too. And I'm
I
like, "Oh, man."
I
I was
couldn't
even
believe
thinking, "Oh, man."
I couldn't believe that she didn't like this movie, and I know everyone's got their own opinion, and it's absolutely fine, but I just wanna tell these guys just for an interesting story from behind the scenes. So, when we were doing the watch party last night, I was just so invested in how she was thinking about it. Of course, you don't talk much during the watch party because 'cause you're absorbing it, but afterwards, after we were live, I had to ask you, it's like, "So what'd you think of it?" And she was like, "Yeah, it was good. It was good." I was like, "Yes, thank God." I was like, "'Cause this movie is awesome, you know?
Yeah,
Awesome
it
stuff, man.
is. It is.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, Kay. Kay just saying, "I just got here
Nice.
before badges."
Nice.
Great, awesome. We're about to wrap up, but yeah. Um,
Mhm.
Barb saying, "Oh, I'm glad you changed your mind, Coriander. I think it's kind of like M. Night's The Village, because it starts out like one movie and it becomes another." That's a
See,
good
I
point.
haven't seen that movie.
Yeah, and we'll have to do some of that stuff too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Julie saying, "Thank you guys for doing Identity. I was hopeful you would after it was in the poll with the strangers." Yeah, it almost beat the
Mhm.
strangers. I think it was like a 2 point difference between them in the
Oh,
poll. So,
wow.
but I'm glad we did it too. It was really, really a fun watch.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
we've
Chuck,
got a little list set up again, so
we do. We've got some stuff
yeah,
coming
we
up. So
got some yeah, good
yeah,
movies coming up.
we hope you guys continue to hang out with us on Monday nights. And also, we got watch parties on Sunday nights, guys.
Mhm.
And I've actually talked about this with people. I know that sometimes that may not be a great time for some folks, but definitely, we're thinking about how often we're going to do that because it does take time for us to schedule it. And if we don't have a lot of people that are able to join it, then it could be something that we do at a different time. So keep that in mind, guys, as well. I'll be communicating that type of stuff on community posts, especially for you guys that are members. But yeah, we're doing some thinking on it. And Barb saying I need to get in on those more. Absolutely. It's been so
Yeah.
much fun. Every time it's been so much fun, no matter what the movie has been. So
And it
anyways,
makes
guys.
talking about the movie that much more better because we've watched it with you guys. So,
Right.
yeah, it
And
just
that was
makes
the
it more
point of it.
interesting. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And yeah, Barb, I'm probably gonna do a poll and see how that goes, and we'll figure it out. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. This was a really fun conversation about a really fun movie. So we hope for you guys that came in late, check out the replay. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. That would help support us. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. We'll be back together on Wednesday for Halloween Fest 2. We're going to continue that on Steven's channel, Craving Something Scary. I'll be back tomorrow night with a really cool interview with Cody Leach. So, as usual, it's a full week of stuff. So, hopefully, you guys will hang out with us and be there. So, we'll catch you guys later. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Ouchich.